What's up, guys? Welcome to G Whiskey. My name is Jeff. Now, this is a channel where I offer my thoughts and opinions on a specific whiskey, and if you stick around to the end, I'll be giving it a score as well. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe down below. And with that out of the way, why don't we jump into our review? Today, we're looking at the Talisker 57 North. Stick around. So, we've got a fun one today. We're looking at the Talisker 57 North. This is a very popular release, or I guess I should say it was a very popular release. This has been discontinued. Now, this has been known to be discontinued for some time now, but I guess they did make quite a bit of it. Again, it was a popular release, so at least in my market, it is still pretty widely available. Most shops that stock Talisker might still have this bottle, although I've heard that's not the case everywhere, and that in some markets, it's getting pretty impossible to find these days. This is actually a pretty interesting whiskey because very rarely do we get cask strength expressions from Diageo. Of course they do exist, but they're rarely part of the core range. They're usually part of some limited edition set, you know, that set that comes out every year with your Cardews and your Mortlocks and your Lagavulins. We did have a cask strength Kahlua a super long time ago, I think like 8, 9, 10 years ago. That was delicious stuff, but that one got discontinued. And since that one's been gone, I can't think of any other core range Diageo product that comes in a cask strength. So this one's definitely the exception to the rule. Or at least it was until it got the axe. So I am sad to see this one go, but I guess it's not that surprising. Diageo doesn't usually let us have nice things. At least not cask strength, affordable, widely available nice things. So I guess we should just be grateful that we got any time at all with this whiskey. Yeah, so why don't we hop into our review of it, see what it's all about, and in the meantime, if you could kindly leave a like down below, that'd be greatly appreciated. Obviously, this is a cask strength expression, so our ABV is going to be just fine. This one comes in at 57%. Now, I'm not actually sure if this is chill filtered, although it would be weird to chill filter something at 57%, so probably not. It is a colored whiskey, but honestly, 2 out of 3 is not that bad for Diageo. Unnatural color here. We have the old label of Talisker, which comes with this sort of like nautical theme. I think it's got a bit of an old school charm to it. I like the understated color schemes with the blues and the whites. It's definitely not too flashy, too over the top. It's a little bit subtle, but I like the traditional vibe that we get from it. So presentation score is going to be 4 out of 5. If this is non-chill filtered, they should say so, but they don't. There's not a lot happening on this bottle. There's no production details. There's no tasting notes. Not even much to our little blurb here, you know. Richly flavored maritime malt with a warming afterglow. I like afterglow, not a finish, an afterglow. Gotta love it. It says made by the sea, but I suspect humans were involved. Overall, I do think it is a very handsome bottle. Sits nicely on the shelf. Let's try our nose. Okay, loud and intense. Very coastal, very Talisker. So I'm getting a big hit of like that minerally peat. We have honey in here, we have some brine, some vanilla, some seaweed, some glazed ham, cracked peppercorn. Talisker always sort of markets itself as this rugged coastal malt, and I think the added ABV in this really helps drive that home. Now our palate. Very full flavors here. Classic sweet and sour profile. Honey, minerals, pepper, sea air, vanilla, oak. Just like these really classic Talisker flavors. This is very rounded for the high ABV. Now our finish. Okay. Oak, resin, peppercorn, anise, some orange zest in here, maybe like some lemon lime in here. My dad's Old Spice aftershave. This is a long, spicy finish with lingering oak spice and pepper. So Talisker's interesting stuff. For me, it's always been a whiskey that has a really intense and distinctive character. So much so that a lot of their whiskeys end up tasting somewhat similar. Other core ranges do have like a common thread, a common DNA to them, but you get the individual characteristics of each expression kind of dominating the profile. And I always feel like no matter what Talisker you're drinking, it kind of tastes like Talisker first, and then whatever they did special for that bottle comes in afterwards. You look at the port read, it's going to be Talisker first, then port, DE, Distiller's Edition, Talisker first, then Sherry, and so on. And our 57 North here doesn't come with any kind of special cask play. There's no sherry, no port, so it's basically just straightforward Talisker flavors, but obviously dialed up to 11 with that extra ABV. So if you like your standard Taliskers, but you want them with a little bit extra kick, this is your bottle. You're not going to find much in here that's like a new take on Talisker, but you know, that's fine. Not every new bottling needs to reinvent the wheel, especially if you're a brand like Talisker and you're starting off with such a strong character, such a strong distillate to begin with. All you need to do is ramp up that character, ramp up that intensity, and people are going to be happy, myself included. But yeah, if you've never had this bottle specifically, but you have had other Taliskers, and I asked you to imagine what you thought a cask strength Talisker would taste like, you're pretty much picturing this bottle. So it's not exactly full of surprises, but when you're this good, you don't have to be. I think this is a really fun one. I will admit though that it doesn't hit perfectly every time, but I find that true of all Taliskers. It's the kind of profile that I have to be in the mood for, but when it does hit, it's pretty damn good. Aside from that, I really don't have that much to say about this whiskey. I usually like to add more detail and really like flesh out my description of a whiskey, but for this one, I feel like at the end of the day, I'm just going to keep circling back to one main point, which is that this is Talisker, but more big, larger bigness, bigly flavored. There's really only two requirements that you'll need to enjoy this whiskey. Number one is that you gotta like Talisker, which I'm sure you do. It's a hugely popular brand, and you did click on this video. Number two is that you gotta be okay with cask strength whiskeys, which again is super popular, so unless you have a tough time with Talisker's flavors or you don't like cask strength, you're probably gonna enjoy this bottle, and you probably should pick it up if you see it. I'm really glad I bought this one. I probably should have bought a second while I was at it, but I didn't. And when I went back to the shop to do just that, buy a second bottle, the one guy in the city who has this still at a reasonable price had sold out on it, which makes me sad because while I could find it elsewhere, I'd have to pay more, and I don't want to do that. So this is a little bit of a bittersweet review for me just because I know this might be the last bottle of this I ever have. So obviously I really like this stuff. I'm going to give it a score of 87, and while it is no masterpiece, it's basically just everything you want it to be. It's everything you expect it to be, and that's enough. And we should just be grateful that we had any affordable core range cask strength expression at all from Diageo. So yeah, I mean, it was good while it lasted. And you know, affordable core range cask strength expression and Diageo never really belonged in the same sentence anyway, at least if you ask Diageo. And you know, an expression like this is soon going to be nothing but a memory that we can look back on fondly. In here. So of course, when things get discontinued, value gets pretty wonky. I don't know if you can still find it. I don't know if it's still affordable, but if you do see it and it is at a reasonable price and you like your Talisker, of course, pick this one up. All right, that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, hit subscribe down below, click that little bell icon, and of course, smash the like. Now, I do want to hear from you. Have you tried our 57 North here? What were your thoughts on it? Finally, down in the comments, let me know what you want to see me review next, and I'll keep it in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.